All right, so for today, we're gonna get this high flip kit installed into the RalliFart. So with our AFR and Boost gauges installed, we're just gonna have to basically fish those cables to the underside of the car. We just coiled our cables and zip tied them. And as you can see right here, we have each ground wire for each of the cables, mounted onto the chassis. Our red wires from the gauges, we basically just crimp them down together, into this add-in fuse connection. And then on the connection, we have a 15 amp and a 5 amp fuse. 15 for the cigarette lighter, and 5 amps for the wires for the AEM gauges. They're really not going to be drawing a lot of electricity, and this will better protect the wires for the gauges. And so now for the fun part, let's see how stuck the O2 sensor is on the catalytic converter, and see if any of the other bolts give us any big trouble. We're gonna use some WD-40 penetrant. Right, so we got that well coated. We'll let it soak for a bit, and we'll also be doing the bolts that hold the front of the cat and the back as well. I'm glad they invented impact drivers because yeah, that was tough to get out with the breaker bar, and hopefully I didn't twist these 3 wires too much, but it's out. Holy moly, we got all the bolts out. Man, I hate rust. Sorry if I ever mocked anybody from the north and northeast, because this isn't even a lot of rust, and it was so freaking hard. Yeah, this is way heavier. Obviously, this is a catalytic converter, well, OEM. So of course it's gonna be a lot more massive. And then this is our high flow one, a lot more light, a little bit light, you can see through it, but it's still, supposed to be compliant. But here in Oklahoma, I guess it really doesn't matter too much. Well, we ran into a problem. I hate this. So one of the guys in the RalliFart group that I'm in kind of suggested just to do a reducer, get a flange, and yeah, it would work, but at this point we're going from 3 inches to 2.75, and at the end over there it gets even more restricted down to 2.5 inches. So what I think I'm just gonna end up doing is just bite the bullet, buy a Ultimate Racing single exit 3-inch all the way, that goes all the way to the back, so Catback. And I think this will resolve our fitment issue here. But we already got that ordered, so this is technically a day after kind of thinking about our options for this issue right here. And so we're just gonna have to wait for when that comes in. For now, we'll just focus on routing all these wires and cables for the gauges and the sensors down here. And then right now we're looking right at the mating area of the downpipe and the front of the cat. And so we really didn't have any issues up here, but I do have some concerns. You can see here we have the bolt and nut holding the cat and the downpipe together. The bolt isn't going all the way through to the nut. So that's I don't know if I feel really good about that. It's even worse on the right side. So I'm definitely gonna look at getting some longer bolts for this, because I don't like this. But I definitely want to get longer bolts just because I don't want any kind of vibrations causing this to get loose. And then right here we have our AFR gauge sensor. Basically, I'm just having it follow the other O2 sensor that's going right around here, and eventually it goes right up in there into the passenger side floor. And then once it goes through here, we're able to make the connection for the gauge, and then kind of route it to the other side on the driver's side, and then up into the gauge. All this mess going on in here, and we got this from the passenger side floor, and this is where the actual cable would come out from under the car, covered with, like, you know, a silicone heat-proof jacket. So we just connect the cable here and then route it in between the center console behind it, and then up into the actual gauge up here. This is probably the easiest way to route the AFR gauge. Maybe there's an easier way, but this is what I found to be the easiest from my personal experience. And to actually get the lower part of the AFR cable through this grommet down here on the passenger side, I basically had to cut it. So yeah, so that's the only way I could really do it. If we start to see any kind of water or anything like that, then we'll look at getting some silicone, you know, sealant or something like that, and hopefully it helps with that issue if it comes up. But I don't intend to drive in the rain with the RalliFart, so this shouldn't really be a problem. All right, and for the boost gauge cable going to the actual vacuum lines, we basically ran down here and then routed it this way. See if I get a close up. This way outside to this grommet. We kind of cut a hole in it. Yeah, it's not sealed, but you know, it's a little bit cleaner than just leaving this this grommet just hanging out. And then it goes up through here, and then from the plastic cover, it's gonna come out through here, and eventually we're gonna route it, you know, somewhere over here. Initially, I wanted to route the cable on this grommet over here and where the main harness goes through, but it's so freaking hard to reach under there, and it's really difficult to try to pull this off. So didn't even bother. Just decided to go this way. Just way easier this way, and a lot less critical like wiring going through here as well. All right, and so we were able to get our T in for our boost gauge. The vacuum hose goes back through here, and it goes behind the battery, and we follow behind the battery. And as you can see, we have the vacuum hose right here connected to the sensor and the cable, and then the cable then goes back right under here, and then the zip tied with these other cables. One of the problems that I ran into was that the T provided by AEM is too small for my vacuum hose that goes from the intake manifold to our blow-off valve. And so what I had to do was cut off some of the smaller hose, fit it into the T, and then put the bigger hoses over that. So essentially we're like just creating thicker walls for the bigger vacuum hose. And this is actually a pretty good fit. I can tug on it a little bit and it seems to be fine. And I kind of doubt there's any leaks, but you know, we'll see. We'll test it out and see if everything's running like it should. Since those bolts from Ultimate Racing are too small to my liking, I got some OEM ones, and yeah, they're pretty beefy. Now we're just gonna install the 2 bolts that go from the downpipe to the high flow cat. All right, so we got our bolts replaced at the downpipe and high flow cat. Our resonated mid pipe also came in, so I went ahead and bolted that on. And last but not least, we got the rest of our Canadian exhaust here. Nice and shiny muffler. I also picked up some bigger bolts. I don't like how small these ones from Ultimate Racing are. They're just too short for me, and they're just too thin. The size difference here, it's pretty massive. And just like that, we have our new high flow cat from Ultimate Racing, as well as our Catback exhaust, all looking very pretty. And then now it's time to hear what it sounds like. About a couple minutes from a cold start, it does sound a lot more tame. When I had the Borla exhaust system, like you could just hear it like rumble a little bit more. Here it's just a little bit smoother. I actually like it a little bit more because it doesn't actually, you know, scream like fart can as much. So it's pretty good. I like it. yeah, so this video took longer than expected, but glad I was able to put that together. So until next time.